Fall, being out here, what's it like? Experiencing a little different practice today.
Well, I had to come down and I saw the home run derby the other day, and I had to come down and figure out what Kenny was teaching these guys. So if he can teach his guys how to play home run derby, then I can throw a football. So, but no, it was good to come down and experience football practice in here in the bubble and watch the intensity start to pick up. And good experience.
What was your overall thoughts of the video of the home run derby?
Well, that's why I was down here. I was going to see if some of these guys would be willing to take a few pointers, because that, for how athletic this team is, football team is, man, those swings, they need some work. But it's, well, I told them open invitation anytime they want to come down to Muni, and I give them some lessons on that.
So I'm guessing nobody from the football team you're going to want to play for you in the spring.
Cam Scattaboo thinks he can make an impact, so maybe give him a look. But other than that, I didn't see a whole lot on that home run derby.
Coach, post-transfer portal heading into fall ball now. What are your thoughts on where the team is at heading into fall ball?
It was a busy summer. We had a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. But when the dust settled here, all the way up until a couple days ago, dust still been settling. We've feel good about where we're at. We've made some nice pickups in the portal. We got some good freshmen coming in, and we have some returning guys that are going to be awful impressive in my opinion. So I like how things have stacked up and where we're at right now. Obviously, we hadn't had practice, haven't had a meeting or anything yet together, but I think just on paper, we made some pretty good progress.
Some coaching staff changes, moving Coach Goff into a non-coaching role, and then having Peraza focus on more recruiting, and then Gillish heading to Washington, now bringing in a new pitching coach as well as a new hitting coach. How do you feel those changes of staff are going to position this program to continue to have success going?
I think my job is to continue giving our players the best possible coaching they can. Me as a head coach, having the guys around me that I know and trust, and that I depend on a daily basis, and understand what I'm getting out of those guys. And we've made in my mind strides in the right direction in that as well. I think Sam Peraza, I'll start with him, has done an admirable job with what we've been dealt. I think, and a lot of good things on the pitching front, and I know the numbers don't indicate a lot, year in, year out, but I think not so much removing him out of there as more adding more firepower to the pitching that we need to put a lot more emphasis on. So I hired Jeremy Accardo in that role. Jeremy has been a track record, speaks for itself, phenomenal, as not only as a player himself, being a big leaguer, but also, worked his way up as a minor league coordinator to a major league pitching coach as well. He's somebody that now, with the completion of our pitching lab that is done and finally finished off with, all the new bells and whistles of TrackMan and Simi and Edgetronics and that type of stuff, he has the knowledge base to articulate that to our players and decipher what information is good for them, and hopefully elevate the pitching game a little bit. As obviously that's been an area of concern over the past few years. So in addition to that, Jason Ellison, let me get this off my chest. Jason and I grew up together. I've known Jason for a long time, but that's not the reason I hired him. I hired him because he's a phenomenal baseball guy. His accolades speak for themselves. The people he's worked with over the years, he's just done a phenomenal job. So I'm bringing him in as a coach, not a friend. And he is a phenomenal teacher with the kids, with the players, and I think he'll be, hitting hasn't been our issue the past few years, but he'll continue to elevate that game, in my opinion.
How is that facility, that new pitching facility, diving into details on that, going to help players developmentally, like some of the tighter details on what that's going to do for players?
Well, I think we've had the pitching lab for years. We just haven't had it finished off and completed. Now that we've had the resources put into it, we're able to finish it off, and we appreciate the people that have helped us do that. I think it just gives another tool to our tool belt. And today, kids want to understand, why their pitches are successful and the analytics and the data of it. I'm not a huge analytics and data guy, but I do know there's a big place for it in our game, and we can start utilizing that much better, I think, to help success. And today's kids want to understand why certain pitches work in certain counts, how we can develop a break on a breaking ball, or a little bit more sink on a fastball, and why that's happening. We can slow the cameras down and see where the finger placement is on the baseball that makes it do that, so we can hopefully, improve the overall repertoires, pitch tunneling, repertoire that we're giving certain guys and why, and have the data to back it up. So I think all that's important. And again, hiring someone that understands all that and is good at that. I certainly am not, but Jeremy is and has a lot of experience with that.
What did Jeremy express to you about his interest in the job and where he thinks he can get this program back in the pitching aspect?
Well, I think Jeremy is, he's worked with, some very big name guys, but not just worked with them, developed them and got them to where they are. Marcus Stroman's, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, those guys when he was with the Mets are all products of, Jeremy's has his fingerprints on those guys. So, just having the experience, the knowledge, not only as a coach, but also as a player of being at the highest level, but not just working with the highest level guys, developing them from a younger age and getting them there, I think is what's important. What I looked at, how's he going to relate to the college kids, right? It's different than pro guys, but on the same token, he has worked with the lower level guys and worked his way up and had success everywhere he's been. And I think, having the relatability to these guys and will be able to grab their attention very quickly just based on his accolades and what he's done. I look for our pitching to be much improved.
On the aspect of development, a lot of freshman pitchers last year, and he had successful summers such as Cole Carlone and many others. Where do you feel that group is developmentally with now a year under their belt and some summer ball as well?
You bring up a good point. We did some analysis on that the other day. Over 32% of our innings were thrown by freshmen last year. That's huge, right? And you look at any of these other big boy schools that you want to compare it to with less than 5% of their innings, we knew we were going to have some growing pains. But when you look at what those guys did this summer, Brock Eddy was an all-star, Fitzy was an all-star up in the Cape, Cole Carlone, player of the league, up in Alaska. We've had some guys, Alec Velardis, who redshirted last year, had a phenomenal summer. Jaden Alba had a great year. So these guys have gone out and done really good things in the summer, which is part of the development process. And again, we took it on the chin a little bit last year, but we anticipate those guys to take a giant step forward. Wyatt Halverson, another one that had a great summer. That combined with the arms that we're bringing in from the portal that we've gotten through, I expect that to be drastically improved.
On the aspect of the portal, losing a guy like Ethan Mendoza as well as Thomas Burns, how are you looking to replace those boards, especially up the middle, with also losing a few guys into the draft and getting signed?
I think end of the day, those guys chose to move on for their variety of reasons, and that's fine. We've replaced them, and I think in a lot of ways, so Ethan Mendoza leaves, we got Kyle Walker, Team USA second baseman. So I'll take that trade any day of the week. We got Jack Martinez, University of Louisiana Lafayette, Friday night guy. You place Tommy Burns with him. Tommy has good stuff, but hey, man, we did okay there. We got Ben Jacobs coming back. Ryan Schaefer. I'm sorry, Derek Schaefer, not to be confused with Ryan Schaefer last year. Derek Schaefer, who was at Tennessee, was their Sunday guy coming out of the fall as a true freshman kid from Cactus Shadows that we got to come back home. That's a big get for us. So, Max Arlich, another true freshman that's coming in that has a phenomenal repertoire that I anticipate, battling for some starting innings potentially. The Quilla kid from Campbell, has got super regional experience. So we've done pretty good in the portal with as well. I think kind of hidden under the radar, but I like our chances. And like I said, our pitching staff should be grossly improved. In the middle, Matt King, we were able to pick up from UTSA, senior, great year last year, leader type that will be phenomenal, along with Kyle Walker, Camden Bates, another kid from the University of Tennessee that is an athletic young man that can play all over the diamond. So, and then we got our guy Jacob Tobias coming back for his senior year, which was that's a huge get. That's or return, I guess. Wasn't necessarily a get, but what a surprise that was, to be able to anticipate penciling him in, in that cleanup spot for a fourth year in a row. That's just huge for our offense and for overall team chemistry.
And then with the tree, how fun is it for you to be in this environment? Very different from where you're used to on the diamond, and what do you think is the biggest difference from your normal coaching baseball to when you're out here watching football?
Guys get to hit each other here, which is kind of cool. Their intensity. This practice seemed very intense for me. Coming over here, and guys seemed into it. Every play seems to matter in practice, and there's a result of it. And guys are getting fired up, one side of the ball to the other, and flying around. It was fun to see.
Has Tobias any fire, maybe chippiness after not getting drafted, a little bit of motivation heading into the senior year?
Well, I think you bring up a good point. I think as a team as a whole, there's a lot of chippiness, chip on the shoulder, something to prove. Guys across the board. If you look at going across New Contradas, proving that he's back healthy. Matt King, if he's didn't get drafted last year, has something to prove. Kyle Walker, same way. Jax Ryan, a guy that wants to get healthy and get back at it. Camden Bates, another guy that just is itching for playing time. And then, of course, you got Toby, that is a kid that what more can you do, man? 18 homers and 65 RBIs, and you don't get picked up by somebody. Yeah, you're a little pissed off, and that's good. So I said, use it in the right direction and keep improving. But I guess you got to look at it this way. You get another year at Arizona State, man. What I would do to come back and be a player for one more year here at this school and experience the brotherhood that you get to experience with your teammates, man, that's something special. So how many kids that, especially in today's transfer crazy era, that play 4 years at one school and actually get to leave here with that Sun Devil pride? It's pretty special. So yeah, he's I think Toby's taking it in stride and is chip on his shoulder, but excited to be back at the same time.
Coach, obviously Graham obviously just got hired like Pac-12 tournament. You said working from, I know, over the summer quite a bit. How did his presence and guys coming in from the transfer portal and just your meetings with him go over the summer?
Graham is extremely involved, which has been awesome. He's an open ear to the things that we need. Can he solve all the problems right now? No, but he's working to figure out ways to become better. I mean, even just the going from zero NIL dollars to just having something this year to get into conversations. We pulled some pretty dang good players, with just a little bit to work with. So for those that contributed, thank you, because it went a long way. But Graham's been phenomenal and getting us the things we need, and understands that it's an uphill battle. We still got to get more and to be competitive at the level that we want. But it's a good, refreshing start for sure.
For those that did get drafted, like McLean, Campos, and then as well as Montgomery, who would have been an incoming freshman, where do you feel the catching position is at depth-wise, and where confidence at?
Focus so much on pitching on the in summer ball guys, but Brody Briggs was an all-star up in Alaska as well, and he was a redshirt freshman last year, for us, and coming back and is another guy with a chip on his shoulder ready to play. We were able to pick up Manny Garza from Rice, who has been a Buster Posey finalist last year. I think he caught every dang game for Rice last year. So switch hitter, solid behind the plate. And then we're waiting on the NCAA. So if the NCAA, you're listening to me, man, we got to have a answer on Josiah Cromwick. We're hoping to get one more year of eligibility out of him, which should be, in my mind, should be passed. I think all indications are that it should be. But with that, having another veteran depth piece behind the dish would be good.
On the aspect of summer ball, with how Carlone also hit very well, is there any potential you have in mind of him doing any two-way stuff?
Absolutely. I encourage two-way guys, especially with, not looking ahead to the following year, but roster limits going down to 34 next year. We're going to have versatility and guys that are capable of doing more than one thing. Cole went up this summer and did everything we asked him to do offensively and on the mound. But like our guys know, I'm not going to give them anything. They're going to have to come in the fall and earn it, but we're going to give him every opportunity to swing the stick along with doing what he does on the mound too.
And one last one on just the aspect of the draft and getting two guys within the top 10 rounds and McLean and Campos. What does it that mean to have those two drafted, and then what did that mean for the program going forward? Obviously a rich history of draft picks, but keeping that message to recruits and other people who come to Arizona State.
I think it's good. Those guys are nice, solid players. Mac and Campy and Hunter Omlet got drafted as well. We're excited about those guys and what they have done for our program. and what they're going to do in pro ball. I think the Cardinals got a you guys know how I feel about Campy. That kid, he'll work his way to the big leagues. He'll find a way to get there. The White Sox got a great player in Mac, and then Rockies, right, with Omlid. So, Hunter had, arguably his best year of his career here with us last year. So, and then of course Schieffer was a guy who was, somewhat forgotten about in junior college last year, and everyone was like, "You're crazy," taking him on. He wasn't successful at Central, but we got him and saw what kind of year he had at times for us, where he did phenomenal things. So, those guys were, I attribute that to the work Sammy put in with them last year and got him better. But moving on to pro ball, it's it's a good indication of what we're doing and continuing to get our guys opportunities at the next level. Steven Ondina, free agent deal as well. We'll continue to do that, and after this year, I'll be anxious to see how many we get this year. I'll bite my tongue, but I think we're going to have a lot more guys drafted this year.
Thanks, brother.